When I did my research at first, I thought that our next guest is our only non-Star Trek guest, but I was wrong. You can hear her voice in the episode Strange Energies in Star Trek Lower Decks. She played in so many films and TV shows, but we all know her from the iconic movie Galaxy Quest. Galaxy Quest? So please, welcome, Missi Pyle! Wow, your German is perfect, so we can do that in German.
Ja.
Yeah.
Meine Stiefvater was Deutsch.
Oh, okay. From where? Where did he live?
Near the Black Forest.
Oh yeah, nice.
It's a long story.
Okay.
But he is above us, watching us.
So, two absent
Yeah.
friends and family
Yeah.
members. Okay, take a seat if you want to.
Yes.
Hello. So good to have you here in Germany at FedCon. It's your first time here
Yes,
at
it's
FedCon?
my first time. Yeah.
But it isn't your first time in Germany.
No, I've been to Germany a few times. It's one of my favorite countries. It's very beautiful, and I love the people. And everyone's tall, so I like that.
No,
Well, a lot of
it's
people.
not tall.
Oh,
That's
well, there's more tall people here than where I come. Women. Where no offense.
We have a microphone right there in the middle of the room. If you have any question, feel free to step to the microphone and ask your question. Because it's your first time here in Germany, let's, not in Germany, at FedCon. So welcome to the FedCon family.
Thank you.
We want to know a little bit, yeah.
It's from Galaxy. Thank you.
We want to know a little bit more about you. So let's start with some rapid fire questions.
Oh God, great.
Okay.
My favorite.
Okay. What's your favorite rapid fire question?
No rapid fire questions.
Your favorite role you ever played?
I think was Laliari in Galaxy Quest. It was just so.
Why is that?
It was my first time being in a movie from the beginning to the end, and it was filled with these incredible actors, you know, Alan Rickman and Sigourney Weaver and Tony Shalhoub and Sam Rockwell and Tim Allen. It was a little crazy, but and just to be a part of it, you know, the whole thing was so exciting. And Steven Spielberg came by. I was only supposed to be in the movie for a small amount of time, but then there was not another woman other than Sigourney Weaver. And so they added this very tiny love sequence with me, myself and Tony Shalhoub, and then I got to be in the whole movie. So it was just an incredible experience.
Cool. How did you get the job in Galaxy Quest?
So I had just moved to Los Angeles. This was 1999. It was a couple minutes ago. You weren't born yet. And I got a page. I had a pager. Remember those? Anyone? Pager. And I went in and they said they were having trouble casting it. And so the casting director actually showed me an audition that Jed Reese, who played Teb, he was actually auditioning for the role that Enrico Colantoni played, Mathazar. And he just did this. The tape started, she said, I don't normally do this, but I want to show you kind of what we're looking, the world we want it to be. And his face, he was profiled like this, and he went, and I was like, oh, I know exactly what to do. So I just sort of did her like this, and then of course, when they're in their Thermian form, they're these like blobby, you know, squid-like creatures. So they're very they don't really know how to be in that body, and they get a little too close. And so it was fun to just sort of be this person who was in their body, for the first time. So it was really fun. And then the casting director really liked what I did, and so she took a copy of her union casting card, the casting CSA card, and stapled it to my headshot and resume and told the directors, the producers, that if they didn't cast me, she was going to leave the union. And I thought that was very nice. So they cast me.
And who came up with this alien voice, this alien language?
Well, we went to alien school.
Oh, okay.
That was something that we did when we first got cast. So all of us got together with the director, Dean Pariseau. And I don't know who started the you are our last hope kind of thing. I think it might have been Enrico Polentoni or Jed Reese. I don't know who did it, but that was once I got there, it was kind of already established. But the idea was that these creatures had gotten the historical documents, which was the TV show Galaxy Quest from space, but they thought that it was their gods. And so they just modeled their entire civilization. And we're so smart, the Thermians, but we have no idea we're very weak and don't know how to take care of ourselves because we're just too nice. But the episodes were in black and white, so that's why all the Thermians are in shades of gray, because that's what they thought they looked like. And then we did our best to kind of model them, but we got we thought it'd be good if they got a few things wrong, like walking with their arms and legs at the same time. And then we came up with a bunch of different ideas about do they fall down all of a sudden, or that just seemed impractical. But then we thought maybe they didn't understand spatial relations, so they would get just a little too close to you because their bodies were so big, and in these bodies they had no idea sort of what they were doing.
And the original Thermian language, this kind of noise?
When I got the script, it said that it was the scene where we're in the limousine and he says, "Your translator's broken," and in the script it actually said a sound comes out of her like a baby in a bagpipe. And I thought, a baby in a bagpipe. And so that, to me, I thought that was a good and I remember sucking in at the time like air, but I can't really do it anymore. So, and then I think Mathesar, Enrico was just like so it just kind of morphed into its own thing.
Can you do the voice on 3? 1, 2, 3.
Sometimes there's that. Just kind of depending on who was doing it. Oh, wow. Bottle service on the stage. Thank you, Steph.
There's water there.
Yes, this is
Medium, sparkling, a little bit sparkling. Okay.
I didn't know there was already. I'm very high maintenance, obviously.
Talking about beverages, coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Okay. Early morning shoots or night shoots?
Early morning shoots. Night shoots are hard. They ruin the next day. I mean, I'd rather just do a normal morning shoot. I'm working on something right now, and they call us at 10:30 or 11, which is nice. It's like I take my daughter to school and then I go to work. It's very nice.
That's good. When I did my research, I saw that you were in Friends.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
I'm a huge Friends fan. Can you tell us something about work at on Friends?
Well, I remember, getting an audition for Friends, and again, it was 1999. I don't know if it was before or after I got out.
I think before.
Maybe before. And they were already a very well-oiled machine. My manager goes, you are getting offered a guest starring role for Friends, where you will be treated neither as a guest nor a star. I just thought that was funny. They were all very nice, but they were in their own world, right? But it was really exciting. I really only worked with David Schwimmer, and he was great. But it was really interesting to see, they were all laying on the couches, just kind of draped all over each other, kind of like they are on the show. I mean, they were really, by that time, they were just like the center of the universe. And so it was pretty cool to be a part of.
And who's your favorite friend?
Well, I then later worked with Courtney Cox She directed something that I did, and so I have an affinity towards her. I have this scene, I don't want to go too blue. Can I go a little, do you know what's blue? Oh. Well, I was doing this scene where my character is supposed to my character's Officer CT, she's supposed to have this big camel toe, which is where the pants are too tight. And so they were trying to make this camel toe, and it was just, they couldn't, it was just her at my crotch with a beanbag trying desperately. It just was very funny. She was just really sweet and amazing.
Who was your funniest co-star? Most funny one?
In Friends? In life?
Yeah.
You know, I did a show with, one of the Home Alone movies. I did Home Alone 4, which is crazy. If you may not even have known there was one.
Home Alone 4?
I think there's like 8 now. You know, they like to keep doing recycling shows. But this one was set in Chicago, Illinois, and it was filmed in Cape Town, South Africa. So I remember, like, for Chicago, it was meant to be Chicago. And there were no houses that really looked like they were in Chicago, and no trees. So they just stapled bark from like a regular tree to a palm tree, up until the camera, just to the top of the camera, or nailed bark into it. But I worked with an actor named French Stewart. He was in Third Rock from the Sun. Does anyone know that actor? He made me giggle so much. He was a very, very funny actor. And I also did a reading with Rainn Wilson, who was in Galaxy Quest for a small part, and also of The American Office. He is very funny too, just quick and funny.
Cool, thank you. What was the most chaotic set you've worked on?
Oh, wow. I've worked on a few. You know, because things, I did a movie called Traffic, and the one I'm working on now, which is a movie called 3 Point Contest, with this actor, Oliver Hudson, who's Kate Hudson's brother, but where this movie Traffic it's kind of similar, where, you know, they're like, oh, and I just did a movie with the guys who created South Park, Trey Parker and Matt Stone. I don't know when it's coming out, with the music by Kendrick Lamar, who, they're just trying to get it all together, I guess. But in all of these movies, the common theme is you go to set with a copy of the script and they say, we're not using that. Okay, here's what you're gonna say. You say this, you say this, you say, okay, let's hear it. Okay, no, you say it. So it's just, you just have no real idea what was actually happening.
You just mentioned music. You're a musician yourself, you're a singer?
I mean, yeah, I've been in a few bands, mostly for fun. I think I've paid more money to be a musician than I've actually made.
Can we hear some of your music online, Spotify?
Yeah, I think some of it is. I have a band called Missi Pyle. It's on. I know it's on Apple Music. Do you have that on here?
Yeah.
I have a band called an album called It's Okay to Be Happy, which is actually pretty great. That I did with an actress named Shawnee Smith, who's done a lot of horror films. She was in like The Blob and some other movies, and then the Saw movie franchise. She was in a lot of those, and we did a TV pilot together. And she said, like, we just became really good friends, like soulmates almost. And she said, "What's your biggest dream?" And I said, "Well, we had a band." And she's like, "I don't think it's not what you think it is, but I'll do it with you." And so then we just created this band and then made an album and toured for a little bit. We just recently started playing again. And then I also do like some comedy bands as well.
Cool. Maybe we can see something at the closing or opening ceremony.
If anybody has a guitar.
We have, at least we have an electric guitar.
Oh, sure. I mean, we could probably figure that out.
Okay.
Maybe closing.
Okay. What's the next question? A movie you can quote by heart.
The movie really the only movie I can quote by heart is The Princess Bride. Anybody else? Princess Bride, show of hands, anyone? Oh,
What was your worst audition experience?
Oh gosh. I don't really remember I don't know that I remember. I mean, I moved to New York after going to drama school, and
Or what was your first audition experience?
oh, my very first audition was for a movie that when I was in college, and it was a live action Super Mario Brothers movie. And I remember, do you remember this movie? It was back in the early 90s. Terrible. Yeah, well, I didn't get cast in it, but two girls from my school got cast. We all went out to Wilmington, North Carolina, because my school was North Carolina School of the Arts, and we all auditioned for it. And the guy that I went out there with, we were having a lot of fun, and he lost his keys in the ocean, so we had to get a guy to come and like carve a key from like just putting it in the door. But two girls from my class got that job to play Brooklyn Babes. They were like, you know, the princess's friends. And they made some huge amount of money, like for a college student. Like the rest of us were all working, you know, minimum wage jobs to get in-state tuition, and they were making these, I think they made like $60,000 or something, and bought cars, and we were just all so angry. But very happy for them, obviously.
How did you feel when you got your first money for acting?
I remember I was waitressing, and I lived in New York, and I lived in this railroad apartment, and it was above this very stinky restaurant. I mean, we had bugs around. I mean, it was crazy. And the floors were like this, so, you know, if you dropped anything, it would just go that way. It was like that rolled. And I remember getting a check for, the first thing that I did was a voiceover. I used to do voiceover, it was a commercial. And I remember getting this check for like $600 and just thinking like, I had to like sit down. I was like, oh my gosh. Just to make money at doing it. And then I remember I did this movie, it ended up being a terrible movie, but it was called The Cottonwood. I mean, it's really terrible, like one of the worst things. There have been a few of those. But this one, I remember running in Central Park and having dreamt of being an actor my whole life, and then I imagined seeing my name pop up in the movie, but that was before the movie was made. That was pretty chaotic too. In fact, a lot of them have been chaotic since, but it was so cool just to imagine that and then to see it for the first time. I just thought, wow. And I remember going to Galaxy Quest premiere, and that was my very first time ever going to like a red carpet event where there's photographers, and I had no idea what would happen. And then this line of photographers started saying like, Missi, 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 and I was so embarrassed. I remember just being like, oh, why is everyone calling my name? And I'm like, here, over here, over here. And I remember seeing my name on a chair and kind of just being like, oh my gosh, I don't even, it just was so overwhelming to me because it had been such a huge dream. Yeah.
You just said you always dreamt of being an actress. If not acting, what career would you have?
Well, I also wanted to be like a pilot, and like an Air Force pilot. That was my other dream, and that didn't happen. And then I was like, well, I could do that, or I could go be an actor, and then maybe I could play one on TV, which I have not done yet. There have been no Air Force pilots, but I have taken several flying lessons. And I really thought, it's one of those things, I thought I would enjoy it more than I did. And so I haven't pursued it as much. And then I have a child too, so I kind of feel like I don't want to die in a Cessna, you know, because those are the planes that you learn in, at least in the States.
I think we have our first question right there.
How exciting!
Hello.
I have to ask the obvious question. Galaxy Quest it feels a bit like a commentary on Star Trek fandom and fan culture and convention culture as well. I mean, that maybe have been more true for the main cast, but first of all, have you been a Star Trek fan, or have you had closer contact with Star Trek when you filmed it or before you filmed it? And did you have any of that in mind in portraying a character or in playing a movie in general?
So, I hadn't really seen much Star Trek at the time, and but these characters, you know, they didn't really know anything about the whole fan culture, so I didn't really have to prepare for that. And it is interesting to be a part of that movie and to now have been to several conventions for that movie that starts out as, you know, it's, them thinking they have no idea that they're at a fan convention. They're just, but I love the idea. I hear several times from actors who are in Star Trek that their favorite Star Trek movie is Galaxy Quest, or the second favorite, or one of the, you know, I can't remember. But I do think it's such a love letter, obviously, to the whole culture, and so well done. Just, I feel like that movie, I just can't believe I got to be in it, because it is, to me, one of the most infinitely watchable movies. You can kind of hop in at any point. It's really, really well done.
Thank you.
So I want to stay at Galaxy Quest, and I think it's another obvious question. I think, as I do believe many here in this room, that The Orville is the successor to Galaxy Quest. And if there is another season of The Orville, would you like to play in it, and what kind of role could you imagine for yourself?
I mean, I'm obviously very angry that I haven't been asked thus far.
Yeah, me too.
Yes, I would. Thank you. Let's all write him a letter. It's Seth MacFarlane, right? Come on. I've always kind of felt like, somebody told me once, you know, that I was from the Pleiades. This person told me that I was an alien, and I was like, okay, I'll take that. So, because I've always felt kind of, I mean, do I really think I am? Maybe, who knows? But I would love to just play more aliens. It's the greatest. Just to be able to play someone from somewhere else, intergalactically speaking, would be fun. Although it would be also fun to be an actual crew member on the ship. So I probably would play just about anything. As long as it was funny and amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's hope there will be another, yes?
Do people like the Oracle? Do people watching that? One person?
Oh yeah, what is the most underrated movie you are in?
The most underrated movie that I'm in is probably Josie and the Pussycats, which is a movie, it's a comedy about, do you know this comic, Josie and the Pussycats, anyone? Okay, so it's more, I guess it's more of an American themed show, but it's about this fictional town called Riverdale, and Josie is this singer in a band, and Pussycats are the band members. And I don't know, in this particular movie, it's we made it in the early 2000s, and it's got Parker Posey and Alan Cumming and myself and Rachel Lee Cook and Rosario Dawson, and it's just really silly. And they did a lot of subliminal advertising in it, and it's a bit of a cult classic in the US, and people will tell me that they used to watch it over and over and over again. It's a bit of a satire on how the music industry is subliminally like telling you, you know, advertising to you and telling you what to think and what to care about, which is sort of interesting because here we are 20 years later. And it does feel like we're all being led to believe certain things and buy certain things.
Next question.
Yes, this maybe a silly question, and maybe I'm not representative. I suffer from face blindness, so I can never recognize people at all, but I noticed that you look very different in Galaxy Quest than in real life. So was that a movie where you've been recognized recognized less afterwards for your role, or was it about the same as in other movies?
I did a movie called Dodgeball, and did you ever see, did that come out here, Dodgeball? Yeah. And I played this Eastern European character named Fran Stalinoskevich Davidovitsky, and she has like big Princess Leia buns, but really bad teeth and a unibrow, and that one I think I look a little bit different in. I've done other ones where I wore prosthetics. I did a movie where I played this Italian male soccer player, and then I would go back and forth that coached my daughter's, so ridiculous, my daughter's soccer team after her father passed away. So I would be this Italian soccer star, and then I would be her mom, and it would take me 4 hours to go into that makeup, and it was like, a prosthetic forehead, nose, cheeks, Adam's apple, the hair, all the taking the different, the stippling the different colors to make me look more real, and then then I would go back to the mom, and in the movie I would go back and forth within like 2 minutes, but it took 4 hours to put on and 1 hour to take off, so it was pretty crazy, but I did a lot of prosthetics just for different things, sort of in the beginning. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Which of your characters would survive a zombie apocalypse?
Which of my characters would survive? I would think, I also did this movie called Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and I feel like this character, Mrs. Beauregard, would survive because she's such a winner. She would just find a way to get whatever she needed. But I also did this short-lived TV show, and it was called Why the Last Man, and it was based on a series of graphic novels about this apocalyptic plague that hits the earth, and everything with a Y chromosome, like humans and animals, dies within 24 hours. So the world is left with just XX, female and just anyone who has the double X chromosome. And I played a cult leader in that, and she was pretty badass, named Roxanne, and she would probably survive.
Next question.
Hello. Maybe a very weird question. I don't know if you can answer it, but when some months ago I checked who's coming to FedCon this year, and I saw Missi Pyle, and I was like, oh my god, Missi Pyle, she was like in everything back then. And then I tried to remember from which movies I know you, and I just didn't come up with many of them. And I looked up your filmography, and it was like, I haven't seen those movies, so how is that I recognize you so vividly, like
I've done a lot of TV and film, and I'm usually a supporting character, so I kind of end up, I'm like in people's subconscious, I think. But for a while there, I was in a lot of movies all at once, like I was in Dodgeball and Galaxy Quest and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and Bringing Down the House and 50 First Dates, and I'm trying to remember some of the others. And then Friends and 2.5 Men and some other shows I did kind of all at once. But you can always go to this a website called IMDb, which is the Internet Movie Database, and then if you look up, you can kind of see them all there. Josie the Pussycat. I mean, there's a bunch, but Gone Girl and Ma and some other ones. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hallo. Mein Englisch ist, die Aussprache ist Katastrophe. Kannst du das vielleicht übersetzen, meine Frage?
I try, yeah.
Okay, thank you. In Charlie und die Schokoladenfabrik spielt so eine Mutter, die eine Tochter...
Just, oh yeah, you understand?
I miss you, Deutsch.
Okay.
Vielen Dank.
Okay, translate.
In Charlie und die Schokoladenfabrik spielst du eine Mutter, die eine Tochter hat, die genau dieselben Kleider trägt, dasselbe Verhalten hat. Und was würdest du als Mutter sagen, ist die Eigenschaft, wenn deine Tochter was hätte, du würdest sagen, oh Gott, bloß nicht. Also wenn deine Tochter etwas von dir nachmachen würde, was wäre die schlechteste Eigenschaft?
Okay. What would you say to your daughter if your daughter would adapt your worst character trait?
What would I say to my daughter if she had that character
Yeah.
trait?
Yes.
And what would it be? What
In
would
real
my-
life. In real life.
Well, I have a daughter in real life,
Yes.
and she is about to hit puberty, so she is exhibiting some character traits that I am unfamiliar with. I would tell her, and this is something I actually tell her, she'll say, she gets really saucy and she'll say some mean things. So I tell her, and then she says, I'm sorry. And I say, you know, an apology is nice, but it's like when you squeeze out, if you take a tube of toothpaste and you squeeze it all out, you can't get it back in. And so I tell her that's what it is like with words. So like if you could say it all and then say, I'm sorry, but you can't take them, the words are still gonna be out there. Is there any way you can explain that?
Thank you.
I think he understood.
Verstehen ist okay, sprechen.
He understands
Yeah,
mostly everything. But
okay.
Thank you.
Dankeschön.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Missi.
Hi.
First of all, I want to say I really like you as an actress. So when I saw you're going to be here, I'm really happy about it. Because you're one of these faces when I see in a movie, I always put a smile on my face.
Thank you.
Always very nice to see you. So I want to ask you, as an actress, you are very known for your funny roles as a comedian. Did you always know that you're good at making people laugh and being funny, or did you discover it during your career? Was it like clear from the beginning, or how did it came to be?
Well, I remember seeing when I first saw the movie The Princess Bride. I remember just loving how funny it was, you know. And I came from a religious family, and there wasn't a lot of humor in my family. But I remember seeing that movie and just loving it. And then I remember. I did a lot of theater first. I did all the plays and the musicals when I was in high school, and I went to drama school. And I remember with comedy, especially, there was something you could do, and then you could just boom, and then people would laugh. And there was something about it. It's almost mathematical, but it's fun to be able to control that kind of thing and see how it works. Some nights, things are very funny. And then the next night you do it again, and it's not funny, you know, when you're in the theater. And to me, that was really, really cool. I love drama, but I'm also 6 feet tall. So when I moved to New York to pursue a career as an actress, I found that when they would send me out for the romantic female lead, I just never booked those jobs. Because most of the men were shorter than me, and it was like impossible to imagine that could actually happen in real life. Which obviously, I've never dated almost anyone who's taller than me, so it has happened. I'm here to tell you. But so I think that was another reason, was because when I feel better. Or used to feel better playing someone who was a little different than me, so I could kind of like be more myself as someone else, because maybe I wasn't so comfortable in my own skin. So when roles would come along that were like Fran Stelinoskovich, who's this crazy, the most deadliest woman in the world with a dodgeball. Initially, she was going to be a robot. That was the first script. She was a robot who threw the dodgeball, and then they made her this woman who, in the script, it said like this sexy music plays, and you see her body, and it's kind of like she has a nice butt, and she's got like a nice chest, and then it goes to her face, and it's like ah, you know. And I thought, oh, I know how to do that. I know how to do that. I love doing stuff like that. It just is more sort of who I am on the inside. If that makes sense.
Thank you for making us laugh.
Thank you for saying such nice things.
I have a quick follow-up question.
Okay.
What is easier for you, making people laugh or making people cry?
Oh, laugh. For sure. I mean, I think, I don't know. I mean, maybe I make people cry with my bad acting. But I love doing drama. I've done more of it now. The business is very different than it used to be. And comedy is not as, there isn't as much of it as there used to be. So I do try. I do try. Being vulnerable is definitely, to me, a little harder. People will tell you that comedy is harder, and I think that that's can be true for depending on who the person is. But I think comedy usually does come from pain. Like most stand-up comedians are pretty dark individuals. So I think there's something about being able to do that. But I do love doing drama. It just hasn't come my way as much.
Next question.
Hi there. In other dimension, I want to know things about Smith and Pyle sounding and the country music. Not is your group?
I didn't understand.
No, I think I read in some part you have a group of music.
Oh, music, yes. I have a band called
Smith and Pyle is the name of the.
I have a band called Smith and Pyle.
Yes, I want to know more.
This actress, Shawnee Smith, we talked about it a little bit earlier, but it's we called it desert country rock, but it's a really, I have this album called It's Okay to Be Happy, which is pretty awesome. And then I've written a bunch of other comedy songs. So I have another band with my friend Brooke, which is called The Tumbleweeds, and it's very silly. We're like two sisters who were separated by a set of septuplets, and we have the same mother, but both of our fathers died during childbirth. Just very silly. And then I have a bunch of other stuff that I recorded that I still have yet to release. That's actually, again, like we talked about, you know, with comedy songs are really easy for me to perform, but I have some very beautiful songs that I recorded that I'm scared to put out there. And they're finished and they're gorgeous. I mean, the musicianship and everything is too, but I don't know. It's just strange. I don't know why. It's harder for me to put it out there. Just do it.
Do it.
Yes.
Do it, please.
All right, fine.
We want it.
So you, no,
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Oh, wow.
U.S. Air Force.
Is that for me, for joining the Air Force? Air Force, yeah. This is my alternative career. Is it too late?
It's never too late.
I always would go on to the, for many, many years, because I was like, what am I doing? This acting thing, it is so crazy. It is a crazy thing to do for a living, because you spend so much time not working and trying to get a job, you know? And then you do work, and it's amazing, or not, but it's just being always uncertain. And so I used to go on the website for like the FBI, and I'd be like, I'm gonna apply and become a federal, or a spy. I thought that'd be cool, because then I could be an actor too. I think it's too late, but maybe not, if anybody knows anybody. let me know after the show. I think I'd be a good spy because no one would expect it, right? I don't feel like you all agree with me. What's that? Oh yeah, maybe so. Okay. Well, hopefully there won't be a World War III. I apologize on behalf of my country. There's so many of us that do not.
Let us not go this way.
Okay.
Please don't. We talked about comedy before. Which role taught you the most about comedy timing?
Comedy timing. You know, I have to say, like, there was this play I did in college, and when I was in conservatory, it was called Camino Real, and it was by Tennessee Williams, which is strange, but I played a character that had this, I just remember, well, let me rephrase that. I actually did a Broadway show called Boeing, which is a French farce that was written when the Boeing airplane came out. And then it had a revival on Broadway in 2008. And I played, basically this pilot was dating 3 different women. One was a German flight attendant for Lufthansa, and then one was an American for Pan Am, and then one was a French woman, I can't even remember the airline, but Air France, yeah? Air France, yes, yeah. Si, oui, okay. So many languages. And the Boeing gets introduced, and he dates them all because their flight patterns work out so that they don't know about each other. And it's a French farce, and I play, and then once the Boeing is introduced, the flights get all crazy and they all end up in his apartment at the same time, basically. And it's slamming doors and coming in and out. And I worked with a man named Mark Rylance, who was a phenomenal English actor. And that particular play was crazy. And that was one too, where every night it was completely different. Like you really didn't know what was going to happen. And I'll tell you that I learned so much about timing in that one. But also just watching. I watched a bunch of movies. You know, Madeline Kahn is one of the greatest comedians of all time. And watching her in Young Frankenstein, and yes, and Gene Wilder, like just a lot of just watching other actors really taught me too.
Cool, thank you. We have another question there.
Hello. Galaxy Quest was one of your first major roles. How big is the risk of being typecast as an actor after that?
Being typecast as what?
As an actor.
As it?
Actor.
As an actor?
Oh.
Schauspieler.
Oh yeah, I get typecast a lot. I also played, we have this term in the United States called Karen. Have you heard of Karens? So for a while, I know a lot. I have someone very close to me in my life. Like I would sooner die than cause trouble at a restaurant but I have someone in my life who does on a regular basis. And you want to be you just want to crawl into a hole, but she does it with such entitlement. And so I've played some of those roles, and I think I do a pretty good job at it. So I have been typecast. In fact, there was a meme of me as Mrs. Beauregard saying, "Can I speak to the manager?" That whenever people would send me, and I'd be like, so yes, I have been typecast as sort of this bitchy, privileged person or just someone over the top, so that it is a little bit harder for people to see me as a normal person,
Okay, thank you.
including myself.
After 2.5 Men and Boston Legal, you are more, in my memory, for a person with no emotion.
Say it again, please. A little closer to the microphone and louder.
Yeah, after 2.5 Men and Boston Legal, you are more, you are in my memory more like an emotional less person, because these characters aren't or weren't like a Karen.
Something about 2.5 Men being emotional,
No, without emotion.
out of emotion.
Mrs. Pesenik or in Boston Legal, you
Oh yes.
played.
Yes,
Yeah.
in Boston Legal, this was a show by David E. Kelly, and it starred James, what's his name? Thank you! James Spader. And I have gotten many of the roles that I got because somebody else fell out, or they wanted to give it to somebody else, and they offered the part I played in Boston Legal to share. And I guess she said no, and then I got the part. And I know, there was supposed to be this lawyer who is very blank. And I really didn't know what I was gonna do with it. And then I met James Spader, and he was dating this woman. His partner was someone I had done a show with many years before. And so he would talk to me this way and stop in the middle of sentences and do this thing. And I remember we were doing the scene and I would just mimic him. He would, and I would do the same thing back. And it was, I don't know why, but it really worked, and he thought it was great. I don't think he knew I was doing him, but maybe he was like, wow, maybe just enjoyed some performance. But that's basically what that was.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Wasn't that the way William Shatner speaks? With all these pauses
between the
words
when it's not
come out of
needed. And there was that guy, do you remember this show that had the glasses? It was like one of those CSI shows, I can't remember his name. David Caruso. Oh, he was a master of taking a lot of time and wearing the glasses. It was so fun. I think he did it just because then they'd have to cut everything else but his performance because it took so long.
Okay. My next question.
I think we need someone else to ask a question.
would be, I think we have a couple of minutes left, so it's your chance to ask a question. But as I mentioned in the introduction, I thought you were our only non-Star Trek guest.
Right.
But you did work.
I did.
Star Trek.
Lower Decks.
Lower Decks.
That was me, right?
Yes.
She's so pretty.
Were they interrogator?
And interrogator, maybe?
Interrogator. Yeah.
Interrogator, yeah.
Can you tell us something about your work on Star Trek?
I mean,
Lower Decks?
I would love to be on Star Trek. So if I have to be on the Lower Decks, so be it. But I would really love to be a part of, that's going to be my goal for the next decade, is to get myself in one of those. Is to get myself to Star
There will be
Trek.
a Star Trek show in the next few years.
There's one right now, right?
Strange New Worlds ends after season 5. Academy ends after season 2. No, there's
no show right now?
no.
What? Alright, I'll work on it. I'll make that
bosses,
happen.
they're a little crazy. Okay, I think this is going to be the last question for today.
So sad.
It's a good one.
For all of us.
I hope so. Hi, Missi. It's great to have you here.
Thank you.
Missi, tell us
please something about how it was to play in a movie like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory with such a visionary director like Tim Burton?
Yes, I worked with Tim Burton on Big Fish first, and then Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And Tim Burton is just such a wonderful human being. Like, I kind of can't get over. It's interesting when you really work with truly creative people who are successful. Usually, they are so good, so generous and kind to be around. And I always felt like he saw the movie the whole thing in his head beforehand. And so I remember him coming to my trailer and telling me that, you know, you can have, what I really want you to do is, your character is a winner. You know, they win. That's how they do it. So I want you to be as close to Johnny Depp as you can, like uncomfortably close to him. Anytime you go into a room, I want him to be uncomfortable with how close you are. And I was like, okay. Because we filmed that movie for a long time, and the main character of the movie really is the chocolate factory. So that was something that, like, what is this? Tim Burton, all of a sudden the clock came on and I was completely thrown. Tim Burton is someone who, like, when he's behind the camera and you do something, he laughs, he comes out and he's so happy and giddy. It's like you're working with a kid, and he wears the same outfit every day, but really he just has the same, he's got like 10 of the same shirts and pants. But that's kind of, he's just this like person with so much energy and so many ideas, and it was just infectious and contagious. And he and Johnny have had a shorthand, and it was delightful. So it was really fun. And I always had to be as close to Johnny as possible, which was very hard for me. Just kidding. It was nice.
Great, thank you.
Yes, I want to say thank you. It's been great talking to you.
You are our last hope.
We see each other at the opening ceremony. You have photo sessions, autograph sessions.
So many things.
You're here the whole weekend.
The whole weekend.
So,
woo!
Let's hear it once again for Missi Pyle. Thank you. See you later.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very honored to be here. Dankeschön.
Und so weiter.